Maine Coast, 1892. The storm had been raging for 3 days when she appeared at his door, soaked to the bone and clutching a bundle that moved. Samuel Hartwell set down his coffee and opened the door before she could knock. "Please," she gasped. "My baby, she's sick. I saw your light." Samuel stepped aside. The woman stumbled in, nearly collapsing. The bundle in her arms whimpered, a tiny sound barely audible above the storm. "Sit," he said, guiding her to the chair by the fire. "Let me see." She pulled back the wet blanket, revealing a pale infant burning with fever. The baby's breathing was shallow, labored. "How long?" Samuel asked, moving toward his medicine chest. 2 days, maybe 3. I walked from Millfield." Samuel paused. Millfield was 20 miles north. In this weather, on foot, with a sick child, he mixed willow bark extract with warm water. "What's your name?" "Catherine Mills. This is Rose." "I'm Samuel." He handed her a damp cloth. "Dab this on her lips, just a little." Catherine's hands shook. "Will she?" "The fever needs to break, but she's stronger than she looks." He built up the fire while Catherine tended Rose. The cottage was small but warm, filled with nautical charts and half-finished ship models. "You live here alone?" Catherine asked. 15 years, since my wife passed." "I'm sorry. Long time ago." He draped a quilt around her shoulders. "Where were you headed?" She hesitated. "South. Somewhere I could find work." "Running from someone?" Her jaw tightened. "How do you know?" "Women don't usually walk 20 miles through storms unless a man gave them reason." Catherine's eyes filled with tears. "He said he'd take her from me, said I wasn't fit to be a mother." "Were you married to him?" "No, I was his housekeeper. When Rose came along, he said he'd provide for us, but only if I gave her up. Let him place her with a proper family." Samuel's hands clenched. "And when you refused?" "He threatened to have me declared unfit, said he'd tell authorities I was unstable." Her voice dropped. "Maybe he's right. Look at me." She raised her eyes. "You walked 20 miles in a storm to save your daughter's life. That's not unstable. That's love." Rose stirred, opening bright blue eyes. She looked up at her mother and cooed softly. Catherine smiled through her tears. "Hello, little one." Samuel felt something shift in his chest. "She's beautiful. She's everything to me." The storm raged through the night. Samuel made up the back room for Catherine and Rose while he took the chair by the fire. Every few hours he checked the lighthouse beacon. When morning came, the wind had died. Catherine woke to bacon and coffee. Rose slept peacefully in a makeshift cradle Samuel had fashioned from a wooden crate. "Fever broke around dawn," he said without turning. Catherine rushed to check, cool and dry. "Thank God. She'll be hungry soon. I've got fresh milk from the Hendersons' farm." Catherine straightened, suddenly aware of her appearance. "I should go. I've imposed enough." "Where?" "Portland. I'll figure something out." "With what money? What plan?" His voice was gentle but direct. "You've got a baby who just recovered from fever. Winter's coming." Catherine's shoulders sagged. "I'll manage. Or you could stay." She stared at him. "What?" "I need help. The lighthouse, the cottage, it's too much for one person. And Rose needs stability." He paused. "I'm offering you both." "You don't even know me." "I know enough. You're brave. You're devoted to your daughter, and you're running from a man who doesn't deserve to breathe the same air as either of you. I can't ask you to." "You're not asking. I'm offering." He stepped closer. "I've been alone here 15 years, Catherine, watching ships pass, tending the light. But I've never felt useful. Not really. Not until last night." Rose stirred, making soft sounds. Catherine picked her up. "What would people say? That I hired a housekeeper? That you're a widow who needed work?" His eyes were steady. "This is my lighthouse, my home. What matters is what's right." Catherine looked around, at the warm fire, the well-stocked shelves, the view of endless ocean. Then at Samuel, this quiet man who'd opened his door to strangers. "I don't know anything about lighthouses." Samuel smiled. "I'll teach you." The first weeks were an adjustment. Catherine learned to tend the beacon, read weather signs, keep the lens clean. Samuel showed her how to maintain the cottage, find driftwood, preserve food for winter. Rose thrived in the sea air. She grew plump and rosy-cheeked, laughing at seagulls and reaching for sunbeams. Samuel carved her toys from driftwood, a rattle, a teething ring, a small boat. "You're good with her," Catherine observed one evening, watching Samuel bounce Rose on his knee. "I always wanted children. Margaret and I. It wasn't meant to be." "Tell me about her." She was a teacher. Came here one summer to visit her aunt. We met at the church social. He smiled. She said she'd never seen eyes as blue as the ocean. I told her she'd never seen an ocean as blue as her eyes. Romantic. She thought so. We had 5 good years before consumption took her. He looked at Rose. She would have loved this little one. I think she would have loved you having this little one. Their eyes met, and something passed between them. Understanding, recognition. As winter deepened, they fell into comfortable routines. Samuel would rise before dawn to check the light. Catherine would prepare breakfast while Rose played. They'd work together during the day, sit by the fire in the evenings while Samuel read aloud. One night in December, a fierce nor'easter struck. Samuel worked through the night, ensuring the beacon stayed lit. Catherine found him at dawn, exhausted, slumped by the lamp room window. Samuel? She touched his shoulder. He startled. The light is burning bright. You did your job. She helped him up. You need rest. As they descended the stairs, Samuel stumbled. Catherine caught his arm, and suddenly they were very close. Catherine, he said softly. I know, she whispered. He cupped her face, thumbs brushing her cheekbones. I don't want to presume. She silenced him with a kiss, soft and sure. When they broke apart, she rested her forehead against his. I love you, she said simply. I love this life we've built. I love watching you with Rose, the way you make me feel safe. I love you too, both of you, more than I thought possible. Then marry me, Catherine said, surprising them both. Samuel laughed, pure joy. Yes, God, yes. They were married in the village church on a crisp February morning. Rose, now walking and babbling, toddled down the aisle in a white dress Catherine had sewn. The whole village attended, fishermen, shopkeepers, the doctor. Samuel wore his best suit. Catherine wore simple blue that matched her eyes, with wildflowers Samuel had picked. When the minister asked if they would love and cherish each other, their voices rang clear. Rose clapped from the front pew, making everyone laugh. After the ceremony, they returned to the Lighthouse for celebration. The Hendersons brought bread, Mrs. Patterson a lopsided cake that tasted like heaven. As sunset painted the sky pink and gold, guests departed. Samuel and Catherine stood on the lighthouse gallery, Rose sleeping in Catherine's arms. No regrets? Samuel asked. Only that we didn't find each other sooner. We found each other when we needed to. That's what matters. Spring brought new challenges and joys. Catherine discovered she was expecting. Samuel was over the moon, already planning cottage improvements, a larger bedroom, a proper nursery. Rose, now a toddler with dark hair and blue eyes, spent days exploring the rocky shore under supervision. She collected shells, chased crabs, squealed when seals appeared in the cove. One afternoon in May, Catherine was hanging laundry when she saw a familiar figure walking up from the village. Her blood ran cold. Samuel, she called, trying to keep panic from her voice. He emerged from the lighthouse, saw her face, followed her gaze. A well-dressed man in an expensive coat approached, face grim with determination. Go inside, Samuel said quietly. Take Rose. Samuel, that's him. I know. Go inside. Trust me. Catherine scooped up Rose and retreated, watching through the window as Thomas Whitmore approached her husband. You must be the lighthouse keeper, Whitmore said. Samuel Hartwell. And you are? Thomas Whitmore. I believe you have something that belongs to me. Samuel's stance didn't change. I don't believe I do. A woman, Catherine Mills, and a child, I've tracked them here. Mrs. Hartwell is my wife. Rose is my daughter, legally adopted, all papers filed. Whitmore's face darkened. That's impossible. Catherine is my. Catherine is nothing to you, Samuel interrupted, steel underneath his calm voice. She never was. You had your chance to do right. You chose to threaten instead. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You're a man who preys on vulnerable women, uses wealth and influence to get what you want. Whitmore's hand moved toward his coat, but Samuel was faster, hand going to the knife at his belt. I wouldn't. This is my property, my family, and I've spent 15 years on this coast learning how to handle men who think they can take what doesn't belong to them. The child is mine by blood. The child is mine by choice, by love. By the fact that I've been getting up with her at night, teaching her to walk, kissing her scraped knees. Samuel's voice grew stronger. Blood doesn't make a father. Being there does. Whitmore's face cycled through anger, frustration, calculation. He was used to getting his way, but smart enough to recognize when outmatched. "This isn't over," he said finally. "Yes, it is. Catherine is my wife. Rose is my daughter. They're under my protection now, and I don't give up what's mine. Ever." Whitmore stared at him, then turned and walked away without another word. Samuel waited until he was gone before returning to the cottage. He found Catherine in the rocking chair, Rose on her lap, both trembling slightly. "Is he gone?" "He's gone, and he won't be back." "How can you be sure?" "Because men like him are bullies. They prey on the weak and isolated. But you're not weak, and you're not isolated anymore." He pulled back to look at her. "You're a lighthouse keeper's wife, part of this community, and you have a husband who would walk through fire before letting anyone hurt his family. I was so scared." "I know, but it's over now, really over." The baby came in October, during the first storm of the season. Dr. Patterson arrived just in time, his bag clutched against the wind. Samuel paced while Catherine labored, Rose sleeping peacefully by the fire. When the baby's cry pierced the night, Samuel nearly collapsed with relief. "It's a boy," Dr. Patterson announced. "Strong lungs, good color, mother's doing fine." Samuel rushed in to find Catherine exhausted but radiant, holding a tiny bundle with dark hair and blue eyes. "Hello, little man," Samuel whispered. "I'm your papa?" "What should we call him?" "James. After my father, James Samuel Hartwell." "Jamie," Catherine said, testing it. "I like it." Rose woke to find her world changed. She approached the baby with cautious curiosity, poking his tiny hand. "Baby," she announced solemnly. "That's right, this is your little brother, Jamie." Catherine guided Rose's hand to stroke his cheek. "You're going to help take care of him." Rose nodded seriously, appointing herself Jamie's protector from that moment. The years that followed were filled with ordinary magic. Samuel taught Rose to read using Lighthouse logbooks. Catherine homeschooled both children with Samuel's extensive library. Jamie grew into a sturdy boy with his father's temperament and mother's smile. Rose became confident, climbing lighthouse stairs faster than adults, knowing every bird that nested on the cliffs. They added rooms as the family grew. A parlor, separate bedrooms, a workshop where Samuel taught Jamie to carve and Rose to paint miniature lighthouses they sold to tourists. On quiet evenings when children slept and the beacon burned steady, Samuel and Catherine sat on the gallery watching waves against rocks. "Do you ever miss it?" Samuel asked one night. "The excitement of the unknown?" Catherine considered seriously. "I used to think adventure meant running toward something new. Now I know it means building something lasting." She leaned against his shoulder. "Every day here is an adventure, watching the children grow, seeing seasons change, knowing our light guides people safely home. That's more exciting than anything I could have found out there. Even when Rose helps by reorganizing my tools?" Catherine laughed, "especially then." Years later, when Rose was 16 and Jamie 14, a young man came seeking work. David Chen, orphaned in a shipwreck. Samuel hired him as assistant, and soon Rose took particular interest in teaching him lighthouse maintenance. Catherine watched her daughter's first romance bloom. "She's growing up." "She is. But she's got a good head, and David's a fine young man." Jamie developed a passion for the sea itself, studying charts and weather, talking to fishermen. On his 18th birthday, he announced his intention to join the Coast Guard. "I want to save people, like you saved Mama and Rose. Like this lighthouse saves ships every night." Samuel felt pride mixed with worry. It's dangerous work. So is this. But it's important. And you taught me important work is worth the risk. Jamie left for the academy that fall. Rose married David the following spring in the same village church. The young couple moved into a cottage David built, just a mile down the coast. Samuel and Catherine found themselves alone again, but it was comfortable quiet of a life well lived, children successfully raised and launched. "Any regrets?" Samuel asked one evening, echoing his wedding night question 25 years earlier. Catherine, now silver-haired but still beautiful, smiled. "Only that we can't do it all over again." "We did good, didn't we?" "We did very good." That night, as every night for a quarter-century, they climbed the lighthouse stairs together to check the beacon. The light burned bright and steady, casting protective glow across dark water. "How many ships do you think we've guided safely home?" Catherine asked. "Hundreds, maybe thousands, but none more important than the one that brought you to me." "I wasn't on a ship, Samuel. I walked. You were still lost at sea, and I was still a lighthouse waiting to guide you home. Below them, waves crashed with eternal rhythm. Above, stars wheeled in ancient patterns. Between sea and sky, the lighthouse stood firm, its beacon burning bright, a promise kept, a love sustained, a family's legacy written in light across darkness. In the distance, they could see warm glow from Rose and David's cottage, where their first grandchild slept peacefully. Tomorrow, Catherine would walk down to help with the baby. Samuel would tend his light, and their quiet, extraordinary life would continue. The storm that brought Catherine to his door was long forgotten, but its gift remained. Love that had weathered every season, grown stronger with each passing year, and would burn bright long after the lighthouse itself was memory. Some lights never go out. They just pass from one keeper to the next, generation after generation, guiding lost souls safely home.